So here's something most agency owners don't want to admit. Essentially, to survive the next 2 years, you need to stop hiring and you need to look at installing workflows. The ones who try to get more bodies, more managers, more overhead, you're going to get squeezed. Whereas the ones that win, they're going to be installing the work instead. So let me show you how that works, what costs to ignore, and actually how to install it. So you need to start where the pain really is. Because your agency runs on people doing everything by hand, such as reporting, chasing invoices, every single week, this basically all coming through you. So how do you actually grow? Well, you hire. And every hire is adding cost, and it also adds someone to manage. And they're always going to come back and wait for you to make the call, essentially. So where the problem is, your margins are getting thinner because you're the bottleneck. And this is your own business. So you should be the one at the helm, not the one in the weeds. So this is the trap that almost everyone is in. So I'm going to share with you exactly how to avoid it. So here's the shift happening right now. The market is moving away from hiring roles and it's moving towards installing workflows. This is the real fork because down one path, you're adding people, you're adding cost, and your output's always going to be capped by hours in the day. Whereas down the other path, you operationalize the work and it compounds and your judgment stays yours. But the work runs whether you're in the room or not, or even asleep. The agencies taking the second path are going to pull away and the gap won't be small. And this isn't 5 years, it's already starting now. So what is the actual move? Just look at starting to install workflows. Because the shift is in thinking. A role was never really one job. It's a set of repeatable steps. So if you just take an account manager, for example, they're not doing account management. They're pulling numbers, they're writing reports, they're chasing invoices, they're scheduling posts, they're checking links, and they're also flagging risks to you. These are all repeatable steps, and each one becomes a workflow. So with a trained agent doing the repeatable part, you're keeping your judgment on calls that actually matter. So that's the whole formula, essentially. AI at scale, and then human judgment. That's the moat that you're going to essentially create for yourself. Because we all know that AI without judgment is slop, and faster slop, but still slop. So if you want to do this, really it's just 5 simple moves. So 1 is map the workflow end to end. No skipping. Make sure you get exactly how people operate in your company. 2 is finding the steps that repeat, that cost you, and that you can measure. Because if you can't measure it and you can't prove it worked. Number 3 is build that one workflow to keep your judgment in the loop. Very, very important to avoid slop. 4 is obviously prove the number. 5 is once it's working, compound to the next one. You don't want to boil the ocean. One workflow proven at a time and then move on. So the proof. So instead of just talking, actually, let's make it concrete. So you got 4 roles agencies hire for, and then we can just rebuild them as workflows. So the first is the brand guardian. So right now, every freelancer, every tool, it's reading your brand differently, and you're probably the only one checking amongst your other seniors. So one brand layer, and everything passes through it, and then comes out on brand by default. So you can measure it on first pass on brand, you can rate, and any revision round is killed. Secondly, you got your pitch engine. Today, you're probably the only one who writes proposals that actually win, so you can't really pitch beyond your own hours. So you get a brief in, you get one voice draft out, you polish. And measure the turnaround and win rate. Thirdly, you have the agency brain. So your know-how lives in your head and everybody has to pull it out of your head. So everything routes back to you. But imagine a layer that your team could query so they can make founder level calls without you having to be in the room. Measure ramp up time and interruptions in a week. Fourth, outbound. So most outbound is either too slow or too difficult to scale. So research and drafting trigger off real signals, and the closer approves, and you get personalization at volume, again without the slop. So there, you just need to measure reply rate and meetings booked, and then you know how effective it is. So there's 4 roles, 4 workflows, and it's the same every time. So where do you actually start? So you can actually start today for free. There's a free dashboard. I call it Ghost-Lite. It takes 5 minutes to set up, and it runs from your machine, no account, 1 quick download. It's just a zip file. So the next step, everything I've shown you, you can start on your own. The free dashboard is there, the download's there, the guide and the walkthrough, it's all there for you for free. But if you'd rather not do it yourself and you want someone who spent 10 years building for global brands and agencies to set it up and have it exactly how you want to work, here's the thing to do. Take the short audit on augmentedtype.com so we can understand your business, and then we can actually jump on a complimentary audit call. No pitch deck, and we'll just go through all of your workflows and tell you exactly what needs to be installed first and what the easy wins are. Thanks for watching. Cheers.